Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and this look at the Circle of Doors Tarot. I saw it on Kasha's channel over at Tarot Map where she was sharing her birthday goodies. Then she did a little pairing of the Circle of Doors with some other decks, and a few of which I have within my collection, so I thought I need this deck. I tried to do an unboxing of it. As it turns out, I never pressed record. But I think it was Spirit kind of guiding me to like, don't be in a rush with this, cool it. So I took a better look at it and then I did it again. And then last night and this morning, I took another look at it. But I took a really deep look at it because what I did is I brought out my magnifying glass and I was going through each and every image. This even has a little light attached to it because, you know, the eyes, they kind of give away. This deck is described as a journey into the cycles of womanhood by the creators. And I just think that is a lovely, lovely description of it. And I really feel like it fits. It fits. I feel seen within this deck. So this is created by Anne Stevely and Jill Sutherland. I don't need to be seen in every deck. I really don't. But this one really feels, I feel a pull towards this deck energetically. The guidebook is written by Brian Duffy. And this guidebook is absolutely amazing. It's 192 pages. These are the creators. They appear on the Lover's card together. You open it up, has the little table of contents, the cards. It has right away the invocation, which I absolutely love, how to use the deck, and an introduction on how to use the deck. It has the inside of the art installation, and I'll share a little bit more with you in just a moment, of the Circle of Doors. It has just a few words as an introduction to the major arcana, the same thing with the minors, which they call the cycle cards, which is really cool. And before each particular cycle, you have a little brief description of that particular suit as well. Each card has 2 pages dedicated to it. So you have this image of the card itself, a little saying here, and I don't know who created this, but it's really, really nice. It has a little description of the card and then affirmations to go with it. So it's really, really nicely done. The box is a really nice, sturdy box with a magnetic closure, opens completely up. Inside you have some color images of the Circle of Doors from the outside and then from above. And remember, I will get into a little description of that. It has this little ribbon to pull it up. They wrote a handwritten note, which I really appreciate. It's just a really beautifully done, beautifully created box and guidebook and deck. Cards themselves, they said they wanted it to be a luxurious experience. So they are a little larger than normal. So these cards measure 5.75 by 3.375 on a high quality plain cardstock with reflective gold edges and trim. This is just absolutely beautiful. So the art was created within the majors in 2013, I believe. So they started creating the 22 cards, the 22 majors, and then what they were going to do with it, or what they did with it, is they took it to festivals throughout the United States and created this Circle of Doors with 22 doors, and each one of them holding the art that was created inside the art installation. So it was an interactive experience. You would go inside, and there are videos online within their Kickstarter and also on their website that show what was going on within this art installation, which was really, really cool. Must have been a really neat experience. So again, here's the doors, and on the inside there's just this beautiful, beautiful the art that they created. So this is the inside of the art installation. Really, really cool. So through that, they got inspired to create the entire deck, so to create the other 56 cards, and then they did the Kickstarter to go ahead and finish off the project and make it a complete deck. And it is absolutely stunning, guys. The cardstock is really beautiful because it is like a playing card style cardstock. Even though the cards are big, it's really easy to maneuver, and I haven't shuffled it yet, but it feels really good. I haven't worked with the deck yet, but I am really, really impressed with it. So much so that I decided I just have to do this video over again because I recorded it and it wasn't recording. And then I recorded it again, but I hadn't spent enough time with it. And as I spent a little bit more time with it last night and this morning, I decided, you know what? I need to do this video again because I'm really not giving enough credit and explaining this deck the way that I should. Kasha is going to have the creators of this deck on her channel, and I am super, super excited to see that particular interview. And as soon as that is available, I will be linking that video in the description box of this video. All right, right beside it, I have the RWS and the Thoth. And I also brought out the Marseille because I really wanted to understand where is this deck coming from. I just didn't, I love the images. I love the multi-levels of the stacked photography. And there's so much to be discovered on here. And in reading the guidebook, I just thought, what direction is this deck from? Is it RWS? Is it Thoth? Is it Marseille? Like, what is it? And I've come to the determination that it's a little bit of all of them. This deck, the Circle of Doors, really goes its own way, and it is just beautiful. It is like this devotion to the divine feminine and all of the cycles. So I just am digging this deck. It is this black and white photography. It has this beautiful gold foiling around it. The back of the cards have this beautiful image. I don't know what these little trinkets are on the back, and I am gonna go ahead and ask Kasha if she can ask their creators, and what are these little trinkets? I really want to know what is on the back. It looks like some shells and maybe, I don't know what it is. I can't make it out. But what I've decided to do is kind of go one by one through the major arcana, and just so that we can, I hope, quickly go through and see some of the reflections within this deck. But I don't want you to get confused because this deck is beautiful all on its own. I just want something to kind of reference. This is kind of documenting this portion of it for me as well. So I hope you don't mind, but we're going to go ahead and just kind of go through. And believe me, when it comes to the Thoth and the Rider-Waite-Smith, I am no expert. The Thoth, I hardly even know. I keep it in order, and then I go through it so that I can compare it side by side to decks when I get stumped, or if I have a Thoth-inspired deck. And even with the RWS, like sometimes I'll just go through card by card with another deck side by side. And so they're learning decks for me. And the Thoth, I have never been inspired to learn about it, but as I'm going through this deck, now I'm kind of more curious about the Thoth. So sometimes it's just that one deck that kind of stands out and gets you really curious. Before we get started here, I just want to point a few things out. The majors are pretty much in line with the Thoth as far as the naming of the cards. And then as far as the suits go, there are renaming of the suits as well as the court systems. So we have the cups as showing up as the cups. We have the wands showing up as keys. We have the swords showing up as knives, similar to the Marseille. And then we have the pentacles showing up as shells. In addition to that, the courts are renamed. So we have the Maiden, the Mother, the Maga, and the Crone. And I really did like the idea of the Maga as an explanation. Kasha had explained the Maga where you're past that mother stage and not yet into that complete crone area where you're postmenopausal. In Sanskrit or in Hindu, the Maga is understood as a priest of the sun, or also like a path, the way. And I just think that is really, really pretty. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck kind of side by side, and I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly. So here we have the Fool, and again, they all share the same name here. And this is very much inspired by both decks here. where she's holding on to the little knapsack. There are a few images here, and the inner image right below, right down in here, this one and this one, they all seem to be her. It's all the same. So maybe it's her taking several journeys. Maybe that, sometimes I always say, like, I feel like I've lived so many lives within my one life. It's just this ongoing, like, continual, let me get going again, let me keep going again, let me restart this again. Because as your life shifts and changes, as you grow, you'll find that it just seems like you're starting over again in a different phase. So I really appreciate the way that that is depicted, and that's my interpretation of that particular card. With the Magician, they are all called the Magician, and to me this kind of relates more to the RWS, where she's staring straight on. She has this lace on that has the flowers, which to me kind of ties into the RWS. Really, really pretty. But I love the view, the straight on view. Here we have the Priestess, and here, to me, it's kind of this combination, because she's holding onto a pomegranate, which is displayed within the RWS. And then here she has this going on. And like I said, I am no scholar or anything when it comes to the Thoth. I was just comparing images here just to kind of get some kind of grounding here for this particular deck. And here we have these antlers, and this may appear as a skull, because that was my first thing, is that this is a skull and these are the antlers, but it's not. It's a reflection of her, which is extremely interesting. And then you have like this motion within the water, it seems like to me. And that to me is more reflective here within the Thoth, where you have that motion, that vibration. Here we have the Empress that has been renamed as the Goddess. And here she's kind of just doing her own thing here with this card. It seems like there's a letter or two that have been layered on here. So I took the magnifying glass and I was looking at the words, and it's just beautiful the way that it's written and stuff. I'm not going to get into all of that and just, kind of detail it out, because it would just take too darn long. Here we have the Emperor renamed as the Matriarch. And this one, I really like this because it has that RWS where she's looking straight ahead, right at you. Her face is here. Her stance is here, open right here. I really like that, unlike the Thoth, but she has this shield here. This looks like a shield to me. She has some references here from the RWS in this particular deck as well. So the horns are up on top. So I really, really like that. So it's a real combination of all of them. This one, I really love the renaming. This is the witch, which shows up from the Hierophant. When I first started tarot, I had a real problem with the Hierophant. That was one of the cards that always was like troubling to me. So I really love the idea of naming it the witch. And I know other decks have done that as well. But I love the mudra that she's holding in her hand. And as you can see, because there's multiple layers here within the photography, it's as if she's holding it out forward and then bringing it up as well, which kind of reminds me of what's going on here with the Thoth. So I don't know, it's just a very beautiful and powerful card. Here's the Lovers. And I love this. I love this because I've never really seen the Lovers as a card between a man and a woman, really. I've always seen it more as the duality of yourself. And maybe these women are just so good as far as friends are concerned that they have that duality for one another, where one is the yin and one is the yang, and they balance each other out. I don't know. I don't see it as a physical man and woman. I see it as a duality within yourself. And then here, they're in this water energy here in the bottom of the card, where it looks like the photography was in water and they're just kind of floating and experiencing that beautiful motion. Okay, here's a Chariot, and here to me it's more of a reflection within the Thoth, where you have that motion, that outward motion pushing out, similar to the Thoth rather than the Chariot, where he's not really going anywhere. I mean, he is set to, he can, but it doesn't appear that there's any real motion, which with the Thoth, you can clearly see that there is. This particular card, Strength shows up as number 11 within this deck, so similar to the Thoth and the Marseille. And in this particular deck, let me go ahead and find the Marseille. This particular card really speaks more to me about the Marseille, about the imagery of the Marseille. It just gives me those vibes. See the post within the chair here? Kind of reminds me of what's going on there. Here we have the Hermit. And this particular card I really, really love, because this to me is more of a reflection within the RWS. But if you look at this card immediately, you almost see like a tree trunk because of all this imagery here in the background. But as you look deeper, you will see that it is a woman standing here with the light within holding a staff. But to me, it almost appears like she has gone so deep that she is within. She is, in fact, the tree. She's grounded and she's completely embraced within this. So I like that. Here we have the Wheel of Fortune. And to me, this is a real combination of both. And again, here's all these little trinkets, and I have to know what they are. But I do like that there are several faces. And here, it almost looks like somebody is curled up in like this fetal position within the Wheel of Fortune. So here we have Strength that shows up as number 11 as opposed to the RWS, referring more into the Marseille and into the Thoth. And again, this is another image that I really like. So there are several images going on here. There's the face that you can see here. There's the lion that you can see. And then in here, there's another vision of a woman. And this, I don't know exactly what this is, but it almost reminds me of that inner dialogue, that inner fight, that inner struggle that you can feel as like movement within the body and kind of coming down into her spine. I think it's a smaller version of this because I can see kind of a nose right in here, but just beautifully done. And then here she has a fist and there's the bicep that you can see here, like just working through that those inner fights, those inner bouts that you have with yourself and finding your strength. The Hanged One. So this is a very interesting card to me as well, because at first I saw the shackles or the handcuffs, and it reminded me more of the Devil card. But in looking at it a little bit further and looking into the deeper levels, so here, first of all, her legs are crossed similar to the RWS, where the leg is behind and the other one is in front and going in this direction rather than the opposite direction as in the Thoth. But also, you cannot see her face here, but here are the eyes. And right here, right in the middle, where the bridge of the nose would be, it appears to me this is what it looks like, a monkey. And for me, this speaks to the, within yoga, you refer to the Shita, which is the monkey mind, to quiet the monkey mind. And to quiet the monkey mind is to find a new perspective, to let go of all the chatter and just to be, just to relax, just to come to a different understanding of things. So I can see now, based on that, how the shackles would appear and how they would mean something. I'm sure there's more layers in here that I just have not discovered. Here we have the Death card, and this is another beautiful, beautiful card. I love the reflections from the Rider-Waite Smith, where she has the flower on the forehead. They have the skeleton face drawing. I love the hands that are up and kind of reflective of the RWS again, where you can see like the outline of bones. But I also love these eyes within the palms, like that protection, that mode of protection. she has a knife here, which is kind of reflective within the Marseille and within the Thoth as well. So there is a lot going on, and I'm sure there's more layers that I just haven't found yet. Here we have Temperance. And this is a combination really of both to me. You know, she's working with that flow, you know, trying to find like that balance here. There's the head, and then there's what's going on inside. Okay, now here is the Devil. And the Devil this one cues me into the Thoth a little bit more, because this is where I was thinking that I would see the handcuffs, like the RWS. But instead we have this, which reminds me of that, like, when I see this, it reminds me of like fascia, that interconnective tissue. But here we have this coming down, and it's kind of like that connectiveness, that web of all things, like connecting all things. So, and the face going in all directions. And this particular card reminds me of the Magician card within the Guided Hand Tarot. And one of the cards that really struck me from the Guided Hand Tarot was the Magician card. I love the way that there's no set within her eyes. Like, it's not set. It's kind of moving, vibrating, you know, in and out of dimensions kind of a thing. This is another one, the Tower. When I first saw this, I was like, whoa, is that the Twin Towers? No, it's not the Twin Towers. Just looking at the structure of it, it looks more like the Empire State Building, but that billowing of smoke does remind me of the Twin Towers. This reading on this particular card in the guidebook, it made me tear up. It was amazing. And I read that in my original video that didn't actually get filmed. And I'm really glad, because I needed that moment to kind of recapture myself and to kind of come back. It's a powerful, powerful reading within the guidebook. The Star reminds me more of the Thoth, where you are in it. You're not hoping for it, you're in it. That's what this art reminds me of here. The Moon is another one again, where she's in it, and kind of gives me more of the vibes of the Thoth. And I don't know what this is down here, but it just reminds me of like frequency. And here you have like the square, the triangles, some other shapes here. So it gives me this idea of like this sacred, like these sacred symbols, this beautiful energy that you get from that, the vibration from that. Here we have the Sun card, and this Sun card is so pretty. So more of a throw to the RWS, where the person is on the horse, but the hands are more joyous, like of the Thoth. But you have her face on the outside of it as well, and the hair becomes the flowers, as you can see. And then there's a big sunflower down here. Now for Judgment, we have Aeon, which is similar to the Thoth Tarot. And to me, this is much more reflective of the Thoth, with everything that's going on within the headdress and her stance. Everything is, to me, is more into the Thoth. The Universe, to me, also is more reflective of the Thoth Tarot as well. The stance, the way that she's holding on to it, the way that she's in charge of it. Again, this is really inspiring me more to get into the Thoth, because now I can see this, I can feel it a little bit more. So this brings us to the Minor Arcana. And instead of going card by card, I'm just going to flip right through. If you want to slow it down, go ahead. If you want to just go ahead and speed it up, be my guest. Now, I've never done a walkthrough like this before, so excuse me if it was a little messy, but I really just needed to compare each particular card. This is a very powerful deck, and as I stated before, it's really neither. It's a combination of both the Thoth and the RWS. If you could see within the artwork that it is really truly a combination of both. I do love some of these key words that we experienced throughout the minors, and a few of them that were really, really powerful to me. See, I can't even like point one out at this point, but I love the Five of Pentacles with the hunger underneath, and there's this person within all this like wreckage, which seems to be their home. There is some just really powerful images within this deck, and I do like what they're representing, like the pentacles for the shells. And this one right here, this is another reading that is so powerful, the Crone of Knives, and then with the wording as scholar. I'm going to go ahead and read this to you because I really enjoyed that particular reading. There was just, there's a few in here that I'm really, really excited for. So this is the page out of the guidebook. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the meaning to you. Crone of Knives, scholar. She is the memory of the world, the caretaker of our oldest, most precious knowledge. Her keen eyes trace the repeating patterns of history, the ancient teachings that prove themselves useful across endless generations. The Crone of Knives knows that all of our troubles have happened before, and all shall happen again, and are therefore marked in the sky like the orbits of planets. With her eyes seeing far into the past and future, she consults the great books, recites the sacred songs, always in service to the foundations of her village. How far can you trace the origins of your truth? What laws would you write to safeguard the prosperity of your people? How do you nurture your deep curiosity as a healing tool? The affirmations are, I am always seeking to learn from my ancestors. Learning the past shines light on the future. Our words and ideas shape our reality. I am a student of the world. Just beautiful. The readings within the guidebook are absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm still not going to take this deck out of order because I actually want to go through. I want to create a little journal for this deck because I'm really called to really take some time and really get to know this deck because I love it. Now, Kasha shared a few pairings on her channel, but there are also a few pairings that I have for you when it comes to this deck, and these are the pairings that came to mind immediately upon seeing the deck on Kasha's channel. So this is the Goddess on Earth Oracle. It is an indie deck. Kasha does have some mass market decks, I believe, on her video, so I will share that video down below. But this combination really does speak to the sacred feminine, and I think that this is going to be a very powerful reading as far as the feminine energy involved in the two. They both have very strong images, and I like the goddess associations within this deck. Very, very beautiful, where everyday women are taking on or embodying this goddess energy. And I think that these are going to work beautifully. I think it's going to be a very empowering reading within the two. This is the Death Doula. These are the backs together. I think they would be beautiful. I love that single point of concentration or focus, the drishti, within the backs of the Death Doula. I think that this is going to be really, really wonderful. I think that this is going to be a very transformative reading. dealing with those daily tiny deaths that we go through, those light bulb type moments where we really need to refocus our energy and kind of figure out, what are we doing and why are we doing this and why do we continue this and how do I grow from this? And even just these, I don't think it's going to be like a deep, hard reading. I don't believe that it's going to be hard, but I feel like it's going to be transformative nonetheless. I think this is going to be really, really powerful together. So those are the two decks that immediately came to mind when working with the Circle of Doors Tarot. Those would be the backs together with the Goddess of Earth, because I know a lot of people like to see the backs together. So that is it, guys. This is, and by default, I just went ahead and kind of mixed up the cards, but I am going to put them back together because I want to spend time with this deck just a little bit more, just to write down what comes to mind when I see this deck. How does it make me feel? Just like one or two words. So I'm just going to take a sheet of paper and I'm just going to write down my initial thought when it comes to what I see within this deck. It is extremely powerful. And I will let you know how it goes when I work with this deck. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your patience. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.